Hey everybody, my name is Morgan. Welcome back to the YouTube version of Podcast of the Dragon, the part of the show where I am a lot more visible and a lot less prepared, and I talk about the Wheel of Time on Prime. So, once again, I've got a little bit more to say about What on Prime's teaser trailer, or a lot more to say. I'm only going to say a bit of it though. Um, I just wanted to say that I thought a little bit more about costuming and stuff because why not? And I'd mentioned something in my breakdown video in looking at the women in the Hall of the Tower randomly, talking about awesomeness and how diverse and how much I liked their costumes, honestly, about just women from 7 nations. Like, I pulled that number out of the air. But I'm wondering if actually they're going to reduce the number of nations in Randland. In canon, there are 10 of them. 10 of them west of the Dragon Wall. But I'm wondering if just to be easier to manage, easier to develop cultures, and just less to inundate non-readers, they might just trim them down. And one of the reasons that I wonder this is because of Alana's costume. Now, Alana is Arafellan, and one of the token traits of Arafellans that we see is that they like to have bells in their braids or on their clothes. And so you can see here that she's got bells in her hair, and I think on other parts of her clothes in the back or whatever. Anyway, she's got bells. She's also got these chains across the front of her coat thing, whatever it is. But that are part of her costume. I'm guessing this is her traveling costume that she's out and about in. Later on, when she's called into the Hall of the Tower, she has this amazing dress on. It's a really beautiful shade of green. So I think this is just like her outdoor wear. But all of these chains make me think of the chains of the Candori merchants guilds. So Candor and Arafel are both like the central borderland nations, and I wonder if they just decided to smush them together and make one country. Which isn't a bad idea, honestly. I think that, that makes sense. And so maybe they're just combining the two styles to combine two countries and trim down the nations. Candor especially doesn't get very much screen time book-wise, but there is canon evidence for Candori merchants being able to do other types of jobs. There's a POV in Towers of Midnight from a soldier who is also a merchant, like in his spare time. So, I mean, why couldn't a merchant be Aes Sedai? Or why not just have the chains be a cool decorative thing and kind of, a quiet shout out to fans, letting us know, hey, we're kind of mixing these two together. So, I think it's a good idea, and I'm here for it. Moving on to Swan. I've decided her outfit is amazing. And one of the reasons it's amazing is because it's so gaudy. And the more I think about it, the more I'm like, Swan would hate it. She would hate it. I'm in the Shadow Rising now. I'm starting to do episodes. And I just read a quote where Swan's upset at Min for curtsying. She's like, stand up, Liana forces enough ceremony on me to last for a year. And I just look at that outfit and I'm like, she must hate that. She's got a tiara on, which I only just noticed. And I think it's great. I think it's great precisely because she'd hate it. Later on, here she's talking to Nynaeve. And I'm pretty positive it's Nynaeve because comparing the earrings, they're very simple. And it's gotta be Zoe, it's gotta be Nynaeve. She's just more simply dressed. She looks more comfortable. She looks like she goes straight to her chambers after she does her formal duties and just like rips that tiara off, like shrugs out of the horrible shoulder pauldron weird friggin' dress, and it's just like, get this shit off me, fish guts. This is ugh. So I think that's great. And honestly, I would love a scene where the minute that she gets out of the Hall of the Tower, she's yanking that stuff off and making some kind of like, they need to trim way back on the fish metaphors, but making some kind of a statement and just being so Swan. Also, and I hope that I am not wrong about this because I don't want to sound like a giant jerk, but having looked up close at this tattoo, it looks really badly done. Like, the lines are kind of cockeyed. It kind of looks like my friend Kenny's finger tattoos that his friend did in his basement with a makeshift tattoo gun. And I think that that's probably on purpose. I hope to God that it is, and I hope that that's the point and that it's not a real tattoo because I don't want to sound like a jerk. But I don't think that it is. I think that's the point because there's a part there that looks like a little fish, and that part looks almost like a turtle, and these look like stylized waves here. And the bottom line is I think that this must be part of her costume, and if they didn't want her to have a tat, they would have covered it up. And I think it's great because it's a wonderful part of her characterization. What a way to say a ton of stuff about Swan Sanchez with a tattoo that looks like her drunk friend did it on the boat with a makeshift tattoo gun. It looks so like not what you would expect a magnificent, queen of all the magic women to be wearing or to have on her body. It's wonderful. It's wonderful, and I love it. So I'm wondering, with the idea of paring down the countries, I'm wondering if they're keeping Terrebonne, and I only wonder that because Leandrin is from Terrebonne, and thank God they're not doing box braids. So I don't know if they're going to not have Leandrin be from Terrebonne, or if they're going to do some other kind of like cultural, not hairstyle. It looks like this headdress. This headdress, which is it looks enough, it seems less like cultural appropriation because there are a number of different cultures around the world that do some manner of head covering. And this doesn't look like any particular head garment. At least I don't think so. And I could be wrong, and if I am, please let me know in the comments because I'm ignorant about a lot of things, and I always want to learn and grow and sound less like a jerk as I get older, but it looks like it's enough of a just kind of could be anywhere or anything or any style for any purpose type of head garment that it could be representative of the style of a country or a culture, but doesn't necessarily follow an idea of cultural appropriation. So, also, I hope that this is Tesla. She looks pinched and bony, and I want her to be Matt's Aes Sedai bestie later on because she looks great. And I know that in the story, Teslin is an Aes Sedai sitter in the Hall of the Tower before Elida does her dirty, but she doesn't need to be in the show, and having a character early on that they have like come back regularly so that she can later have an important role and be somebody that Matt collaborates with, I think is beautiful. And then right up in here, I'm assuming these look like all of the Aes Sedai that I'm thinking that they get censured because of Logain's escape. And it looks like Moiraine is walking out of the Hall of the Tower here. Those are the Brown sisters. And I don't know if they're just looking out of the window or if they're trying to make a statement with their backs turned to Moiraine. But she's walking out. And these guys here, I don't think they're white cloaks. Somewhere somebody had said something about how they might be white cloaks, but I don't think so. I think they're tower guards, and they're just standing outside the hall of the tower as tower guards. And this one Aes Sedai over here on the far right, I think is the Red Sister who, when Moraine's voiceover is like, and women who can touch it protect the world, and the camera shoots up from below, and you see the pan of the Red Aja, and you see the one that I hope is Teslin, and then Leandrin, and this awesome-looking queen with this great belt. You see another one that's cut off, and I think that's this fourth one with the headdress. Also, I wanted to do a quick correction, because in my breakdown video, I made this assumption based upon Egwene's body language that her and Rand's trip to the Bone Zone didn't go very well. But I watched Unraveling the Patterns breakdown video. And if you have not watched Lauren's channel, I cannot recommend it enough. If you want to see amazingly well done videos, I'm putting a link to the playlist for his Watt one-on-one at the end. His videos are great. You totally should watch them. Anyway, he did a breakdown, and then I think the second breakdown that he did where he went back and was like, I was wrong about all of these things. He had a script from early on, a script that got leaked, where Rand and Egwene are having a conversation, presumably after they boned down, where she tells him that Nynaeve has asked her to be her apprentice. And Rand is like, but then you can't get married or have kids, and Nynaeve is not a very happy person. Why would you want to do that? So maybe the sad look on Egwene's face is, rather than this was an unsatisfactory lay, more like, I would want to do that because it sounds a lot more appealing than being married to you. So it's not necessarily that she doesn't have a good time boning down with Rand, but that it's not enough fun that she would want to marry him. Which I honestly like a lot better. I love the idea that the two of them would have a sexual relationship where he wants it to be more and she prefers it to be a bit casual. I think that that is a wonderful approach. Anyway, thank you for coming to the YouTube version of Podcast of the Dragon, and everybody take it easy.